Recording. Aaron, Big Dick
Yo.
Energy Shepard.
BDE, man, what's going on?
Nothing much, brother.
BDE.
Woo! I'm trying to expand. There we go. Yeah, man. Nothing much. So that's Supreme Court justice. For everyone listening, my buddy Aaron Shepard. What episode is this? 188? 188. Aaron Shepard is ushering in Skynet. He is working directly with the Pentagon, DARPA, and the Illuminati. Find shelter because his robots are autonomous and they're going to drain the blood from your children for its iron content.
No, they're not. They're not that,
Bullshit.
man. They're just gonna control your mind, and I'm gonna basically influence all of society with my mind control robot.
Yeah.
So.
It's gonna turn into some big anime orgy. Do you think that's why Elon wants to go to Mars? Get way because it's like international waters, right? If you go to Mars, that's like. I mean, you're out of, like, jurisdiction, right? You could just...
Maritime law, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, would that be, like, space maritime law? Would he be... Yeah, I mean, you're way beyond... How high up do air rights go? Airspace. What is airspace? Is airspace to space?
I don't know if airspace is to space. I don't think it is past a certain point. I feel like once you get up there, it's maritime law. But I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Somebody in the audience might know. So go ahead and like drop a comment, like tell us that we're fucking wrong.
Right? Because that makes actually I had never thought about it. Because what's maritime law? What is it? 175 miles? Or is it way
something
less?
Like that? Yeah.
Or it's like 10 miles, something in between. How high?
Something in between 10 and 175. I'm not a pirate. I don't know.
Fuck you, Aaron. How high does airspace go? Does airspace go? How high does airspace go? There's no international agreement on the vertical extent of sovereign airspace, but suggestions range from about 19 miles to about 99 miles. So, I mean, that's still quite a range. I don't think we were too off saying 10 to 175, 19 to 99. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think you're good. So, because that's weird. Because satellites, there's no, that's not the same as putting a spy plane, right? You shoot down Francis Gary Powers, it's like get the fuck out of our airspace, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you shoot a satellite over that was like a weird. It was like uncanny valley of spying, right? You fly in our airspace, we will shoot you down and most likely execute your pilot. But if you go a little bit higher, we will do nothing.
Yeah. It's like, do you remember, was it last year where they were testing a rocket out in Iran? They were doing a launch and there was an accident and President Trump tweeted out a picture from one of our spy satellites that showed in great detail what the site looks like.
Clearly showing our capabilities.
Right, which that was like,
fucking
God,
moron.
Why did you do that?
Fucking moron. God damn, yeah, it's because it wasn't your Google Earth resolution. It was like, no,
like you could see the writing along the launch pad. It was crazy. You were like, oh shit, I didn't even know we could do that.
Motherfucker, what a moron. But yeah, it's weird. Yeah, so to circle back around, if you went to Mars, I mean, let's say Elon goes out there and brings like anime cat girls to life, right? Would there be any like weird stipulations? Like, could there be polygamy? Right? You could have like, what laws exist out there? Guess that's where this podcast is going. What laws exist? What is the jurisdiction though? Right? Because don't we have that no nation can claim a celestial body? Isn't that an agreement?
No nation can claim a celestial body, and no nation can weaponize anything past a certain point in the air. Yeah. So, but ironically, I always had an issue because with a spy sat that's in space, that's technically you're not attacking anybody with it, but that's a weapon. It's information. Yeah. So.
But that was a weird thing, though. We kind of had an open skies agreement. Was it Richard Bissell, Eisenhower's hatchet man? I think he penned that, the open skies agreement. And it was originally we were going to say let each other's planes fly over, because it was a form of security, right? If we let the Soviets fly over, and they see all of our nuclear weapons and they see that we are not mobilizing, but they also see that we're armed to the teeth, and then they let us fly over, and we see that they're not putting troops on the border, but they're also armed to the teeth. Like, that causes more peace than it does harm, because we're like, oh, everybody's strapped, but nobody's trying to ride, right? It's like everybody's got their gats, but everybody's at home. That's peace, though, right? And I think the Open Skies Agreement didn't go through, but then it somehow did get morphed into satellites. It was just generally accepted. Flyovers were fine. We would shoot lasers at the Soviets over Area 51 to blind them, but they would do the same to us. Yeah, I don't know. You're right, because that is a weapon, though. Information is more of a weapon than it's ever been.
Yeah, at today's age. Oh, yeah. And again, going back to that launch in 2000, or accident in 2019, where the big issue was the fact that now the world knew exactly what we could see. And I think within a few hours of that picture coming out, amateurs were able to track the satellite. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I mean, dude, you get that weaponized autism, they'll find that shit, right? Mm-hmm. They'll find that shit. Do you remember when Shia LaBeouf had that "He Will Not Divide Us" flag, and 4chan kept like stealing it? Do you remember that back in 2016, like height of the meme war? And finally, Shia LaBeouf, like, he took it to an undisclosed location and he put a camera at the base looking up. No buildings, so you couldn't see street signs, couldn't see street lights. You didn't even know where it was. Is it on a farm? Is it in New York? Wherever. But it was just a camera recording of the flag, "He Will Not Divide Us." But they saw, you could see contrails, and so they fucking cross-referenced on like the live satellite maps of, you know how you can follow airline traffic, and then apparently someone went out, because the thing had audio. They got someone, and it was in like Kansas, some dude out in the middle of nowhere. He was like, hey, listen to the camera. And this dude went out driving like all day, just honking his horn every like 10 seconds, and they eventually heard it. So they pinpointed it, and then they flew a drone over with a flamethrower on it and burned his
Yeah, people are resourceful, man.
I know.
It's crazy.
Well, it's like, what if you just put that towards go get a job at NASA? you took that work ethic, that ingenuity.
Yeah, we'd have been on Mars. Oh, speaking of NASA, bro, what do you think about the Venus thing? You did the news.
I've been working like a fucking schmuck. I haven't been looking at the news.
Yeah, of course you are. Of course you haven't.
Stupid work.
Yeah, working is for losers. Oh, and I got some information for you, work related, but we'll get there. Like, good news. Yeah, like big things. But yeah, so with Venus, they found traces of a chemical called phosphine, and phosphine typically is a result of biological processes. Now, nobody's saying that they've confirmed life on Venus or anything like that. So don't listen to the news, because the news is going to be like, yeah, there might be alien life on Venus, because you know how the news is. Yeah. But the thing is that all of the scientists were like, look, there's a bunch of phosphine. The only way we know that you can make phosphine on that scale is biological life. Yeah. Now, there could be other processes that we don't know about that happen in Venus, and that may very well be the case. But now what's happening is NASA is starting to be like, wait a minute, maybe we should look at Venus, which, personally speaking, I've always been, and oh gosh, this is going to get me in trouble because I sit on a board for the Mars generation, but I've always been a proponent for Venus because Venus is closer. Yes, it is hot as hell and there's a fuck ton of pressure, but if you go up about 50 kilometers in the air, it becomes about the same temperatures that you would see here on Earth, and then it's about the same pressure too. Oh. And then because you're at Venus, it's the same gravity. The only thing you would really need is like oxygen to breathe, and that's it.
I didn't know that. I didn't know any of that.
Like Venus. So Venus doesn't get the respect or the hype that Mars gets because it's impossible to walk on Venus. Like, you're not going to get that shot of the boot print like you would on the moon or on Mars. Okay. But I would trade that for cloud cities, like in Star Wars.
So would I. Dude. Yeah. That's insane. Yeah. Because you're right. I was just figure Venus. I'm like, It's got like 700 atmosphere. It's got sulfuric rain, right? Sulfuric acid rain. But I had thought about that because that would probably be. So let's say you can get a cloud city going, right? Just some big old fucking, NASA tier blimp, right? Super lightweight, super durable. That would, if you could do that, would that make it easier than being on Mars? Because if you can just get to our atmosphere.
Oh, fuck yeah. Like, dude, first of all, so the trip, Venus is closer to Earth than Earth is to Mars.
Yeah, by how much? What is, like, percentage? Like, how much quicker? How much? Because I didn't know that. I'm a moron. I didn't know that either.
Well, I can't give you exact percentages next time. But if you look, the planets in the solar system, the further you get from the sun, the further the distance becomes between each planet.
Yeah, so, I know that.
So it's probably, whereas Mars is like 6 to 9 months, I think Venus is like 4 to 6.
Okay.
Or some.
Mars, 41 million miles, Mars.
Mm-hmm.
And Venus, that can't be right. Venus says 92 million miles from Earth. That can't be right. Is that current? Is it current? Are they at like different?
I don't know. Wait, I'm going to look it up now too. Hold on. I'm on my phone, so.
Earth's closest distance to Venus is 66.7 million. Venus gets closer to the Earth than Mars. Okay, you're right. At 23.7 million at the closest, it's 23.7 million. So yeah, you're right. Yeah, 23.7 versus Mars. What was Mars? 41.175.
Yeah.
So almost half.
So, but then too, what the advantage that you get is if you're going to Venus, you're going towards the sun. Yeah. Solar becomes a more viable option.
Okay. Yeah, because you're at this cube squared law. Is that it?
Something like that. Something like that.
Goes out exponentially because it's the same light going out over you're going out at a spherical. I failed calculus a couple times, but yeah, you're going out same power, same amount of solar going out over an exponentially greater area with each, right? It's like why nuclear bombs. It's like why a 50 megaton isn't necessarily twice as damaging as a 25 megaton.
Right. Yeah. It's inversely proportional. Okay. Something like that.
Okay.
But so you get the sun. You get that option. And on top of that, like I said, when you get to Venus, as long as you stay above the clouds, which ironically enough, because of the immense pressure, if you were to, or like no, not the pressure, the atmospheric density or something like that.
Yeah.
I remember reading that if you were to have a blimp on Venus and it were to have a hole in it, it would take hours for the air to actually escape out.
Yeah.
So yeah, atmospheric pressure.
Right, because that's those chemistry experiments, like visualizing where you'll get like an empty aquarium tank and you'll fill it with like sulfur hexafluoride, and you can't see it, it's invisible, but you can put like a paper boat and it will float on top, and it looks like it's just flying. It looks like it's anti-gravity, but it's sitting on top. And then if you take a cup and go down and scoop up the sulfur hexafluoride and dump it into the boat will sink. So it's probably less that it has to. It's probably less it's probably less of a blimp in our sense of like it's got to be really light to get it up there, and more of it's probably closer to like a boat, I would imagine.
And I remember reading that certain gases float in Venus. Like I think I got to look at the Wikipedia now, but it was very common. Like helium would float like crazy in Venus, and I think carbon dioxide would too, or something like that. Don't quote me on that, like because I know people will be like, "No, it was actually wrong."
No,
like, I say, it's on the Wikipedia article, guys. Look it up.
Yeah.
Shit, like, but that was so. NASA occasionally has kicked around the idea of sending like a robotic blimp to Venus. Mm-hmm. And so when they did that, they put together the PowerPoint and you can see it. And that's one of the points they bring up is that even if you were to have a rupture in the blimp, it would take hours for all the gas to escape. So you have time to fix it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like, and I might just be doing some like super generalizations, but I feel like as you get closer to the sun, there's just more energy in the system. The system being like the defined of what entropy, enthalpy, whatever like the actual like the chemistry, the textbook definition of the system is. I feel like you just have more energy in this. Like you go to Pluto, like solar is out of the option, but even the thing itself is just like beyond frozen, right? You're always going to have tectonic activity, I think, right? You're always going to have some magnetic, but like the farther out you go, the more it just, you go out to like a bumblefuck town in the middle of nowhere, there's less money in the system, right? It's not
Right.
there's not just a poor. It's not just that the restaurant sucks, like the only gas station sucks, the public school sucks, versus you go to any like burgeoning like blossoming suburban area, and there's a new LA Fitness, and then there's a new chain of this, and there's a new, and everything's brand new, and there's just money everywhere. So everything in general is just right. It's like good soil. I feel like as you get closer to the sun, like if there's just more energy in the system, I feel like there'd probably be easier ways to. And I feel like I'm somehow sounding like new agey, like more energy in the system, man. Crystals, healing oils. But no, like, right? Wouldn't there be more chemical energy? I mean, if there's that much heat and pressure, there's that much more shit to fuel your machines. Like, I feel like you could have like biochemical reactors. I feel like you could have a ton of steam generated shit. I mean, if it's like 1,000 fucking degrees there, right? Or am I going full new age bro science?
I think it might be a little bit of both, man. I think it's like
all right.
you are technically correct in that you're closer to the source of the energy in the solar system. So with that, who's to say that, given the high pressure and the high atmospheric density that Venus, especially with all those greenhouse gases, life might be cooking over there.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And it doesn't. One thing that we have to keep in mind is that our only definition of life is what we see here. So, if you think about how cells generate energy, and then there's oxygen at the end of the the ATP chain or something, some BS like that, like that med school stuff like that that they make you learn. I think that maybe that's not the only way. Like maybe there's an organism where oxygen isn't the final acceptor in the chain. Maybe it can be substituted with sulfur or
anything else with the same number of valence electrons, right?
Yeah, or just like different. There's so many things that we don't know exist, that we don't know what actually exists. So maybe there are entire biochemical pathways that aren't anything like we've seen here on our planet, but in an environment like Venus, they're sustainable, or that's what evolved out. So either way, it's a very interesting argument. It gets Venus the attention. It's giving Venus the attention that Venus has deserved and has been neglected. And I think honestly, if we want to send stuff out to Mars and Venus and all over the place,
do it all. Let's go. Do it all. You don't have to limit it.
Find the aliens.
Fucking do it all. Yeah. That's one thing I've always thought of about life is like when we're looking for water-based life, we're looking at things in the Goldilocks zones. Like we're looking at what's worked for us, but it's almost like the drunk guy looking for his glasses under the street lamp because he's like, well, I can't see anywhere else. But it's like, well, it might not be there just because there's light here. So we find this oxygen-rich place, and it's got liquid water. It's in the Goldilocks zone. There's no radiation. Sure, you would. To me, it's not that we'll find life there. It's that like if we went and dumped some like RNA and DNA specimens, they would probably end up surviving there. But you go to someplace else, like why does it have to be oxygen at the end of the electron transport chain? Why does it have to be DNA and RNA? Why can't it just be the general system of self-replication, evolution? Like that's all it has to be, right? It's a dead idea that's been beaten to the ground, and it's not my idea, but the idea that like we're watching technology evolve. Like, is it not? You look at an old N64 versus a new Xbox. You look at an old like Dell laptop versus a new MacBook, or an old Razor versus an iPhone. Like, we're watching the evolution in real time. There's no DNA and RNA. It's silicon based. There's glass. There's weird fibers and composites, and it runs on electricity. No, we kind of do, but like, you know, it doesn't eat. It doesn't breathe. But in a lot of the same ways, it evolves. There's horizontal gene transfer, right? That would be like corporate espionage, right? Everyone's doing the USB-C. Everyone's getting rid of the touch button. They're doing the camera bump. Yep. But then there's vertical transfer, right? What worked? The touch screen, boom. App Store, boom. Like, multiple apps, okay. Some things do, some things don't. But it seems like, you know, AirPods, that works. Now everyone does them. But that's like the dodo going extinct. That's not the thing that works anymore. So
yeah, like the floppy disk. Like,
yeah.
You can't even see that. You don't see that no more.
And even if you found one, where the fuck are you gonna run it? So it's like, you know, but in that sense, we're seeing something that's entirely like metal and plastic based that goes off of wall outlets. But do they not have brains? Do they not have like external, or can they not sense shit? Do they not have temperature and accelerometers and compasses? Like, they are organisms, but it has nothing to do with us. But it's the pattern that's the same: vertical and vertical evolution, horizontal transfer, and just better, more energy efficient. And what just like evolution, what does it do? The one that replicates the most. Right?
Yeah.
Who has the best? Who has the most iPhones? Who has the most Huawei's? You know, what is a new Xbox is great, but what if the PlayStation's cheaper? There's more of those, right? They're competing with each other. So it's
right.
Yeah, we see it online, right? MySpace to Facebook, right? Blockbuster to Netflix. So to circle it around to what you said, there could be something on Venus that's just nothing like that we could have even hypothesized, because we're looking for RNA and DNA. We're looking for binary fission, or like sexual what is it when the fucking Jesus, this is like first grade.
Mitosis?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, biology degrees.
I get the gold star. Woo! But yeah, it might not be that at all, right? It might be some fucking asexual. Why even binary fission? It might be some asexual, like, trifission that runs on arsenic, sulfur, and it might have like a quintuple helix, right? It might have some fucking, and the only way to find out is to go there. So how do we go in there?
That's a good question. Well, first of all, we got to, the fundamental force of flight is money. So the money's got to be put in.
Yes, that is the fuel. Is just
that is the fundamental force of flight. Like that. I know they talk about lift drag and money.
Nope. Yeah, nope. It's, a lot of people think Bernoulli's principle, but reality is it's just fucking Franklin's. Just doesn't matter.
Now we gotta, like we mentioned a couple episodes ago, or when I was on a few episodes ago. You just gotta convince Trump that
that someone's gonna do it better than him.
Yeah, someone's gonna do it bigger and better.
You can ride. We'll be there fucking tomorrow. We'll have a Trump hotel, for better or worse, on Venus.
I'm putting a Trump hotel. It's a cloud city.
It's a cloud city floating way above the rest. Runs on sulfur. We have the best sulfur. I've asked a lot of scientists, great scientists, American scientists, and they all say sulfur's. China says they have sulfur. If we elect Biden, he's going to take all the sulfur and give it to China. You don't want that. You have these people out. But it doesn't matter, because if he gets us there, then we have a foot in the door and we have a forward operating base, right? It's just to get the foot in the door. Who cares? It's now the real thing you want is what's the fundamental force is money. You want to find something valuable there, because Mars, Elon is doing it because it's like buying American versus buying Chinese. Like, if you really want a shitty thing, you'll get it, because for a Chinese website it's 1/10 the price. But you should buy American, because you're selling yourself downstream. So it's something you do if you're not strapped for cash, because you're like, but you don't have to do it. But I feel like Musk is taking us to Mars. Like, there's no profit. Well, there will be somehow, but that's not why he's going. It's like, because he just kind of knows it's like the right thing. Like, we need a backup hard drive of humanity. But the real way to go would be if there was incentive, right? If you could somehow find the equivalent of asteroid mining on Venus.
And who knows from a chemical standpoint what's there. Like if we find, again, a major resource, be it gold or diamonds or oil or something. I know that this isn't scientifically accurate, but this is the episode for that shit. So but if we find a major resource, like hell, we'd launch up tomorrow. Like imagine if they were like, oh yeah, we found fossil fuels in Venus. You just got to do blah, blah, blah. Man, BP would have rockets launching next week.
Yeah, I know. But you almost kind of like need that to happen, right? It's like an imperfect system, but goddamn if it's not the most efficient, cutthroat system, right?
And that's capitalism.
I think it might have been you and me. I don't remember, but it was like, yeah, it's like, offshore oil rigs. Like you don't build those because it's like a neat idea. Like the only way you're going to get an oil rig that's sitting out in 5 miles of water that digs down with a diamond bit drill, and then once it goes down through 25,000 feet of water, then starts drilling. You get that because there is money to be made, right? It's Apollo program was beautiful, very nationalistic. It was a wonderful human endeavor, but we went and then came back. Now, if you get like helium-3 there, I don't even know what it would be, because I feel like right now asteroid mining is probably the first. I feel like that's the first big capitalistic drive, right? A chunk of palladium the size of Manhattan,
that'd be beautiful.
Yeah. But maybe that's what we need. That is the carrot, and by going there, regardless of what it is we get, we're going to refine our systems to get there, right? It doesn't matter what you're getting from the ocean floor. We have refined putting out oil. We build cities at sea now. Like, that's what we do. Not cruise ships, but oil platforms. That's insane. My cousin worked on one, right? So it won't even be what we get from the asteroids. To go there, it's going to be company versus company, and they're going to get cutthroat, and that's going to be the best thing for space technology, because everyone's going to have self-landing rockets. You're no longer going to be able to throw it away, right? It'd be like FedEx saying, we can't crash our 747. UPS isn't doing that. We got to land it, because how else are you going to stay afloat as a company? It's all about that bottom line. So if these massive corporations, these trillion-dollar corporations can pit at each other, I mean, why wouldn't Apple be interested? I mean, who uses more rare earth metals than Apple? Every goddamn electronic has is it not rubidium? I was going to say rubidium. I think it has batteries are cobalt. Point being, Tesla, Apple uses a lot of gold. Apple, Tesla, SpaceX, Amazon. I mean, they will all, doesn't matter what they get. What they will do is get there in the most efficient way to save the most money. And that growth can then be used to go to other places. So we go to Venus, maybe there's nothing even to get on Venus, but if we now have this like hyper efficient infrastructure put in place, right? There's like those like biplanes they used in like post World War I Soviet Union. It was to deliver mail, and these companies, well, they're all state companies, but they started going at it more and more and more, until finally they were getting so efficient with these, someone was like, we could just put a couple passengers in here. Boom, now you have humans flying. So it was like this infrastructure was built for this different reason, and then it started onto that. Is that the way to go? Not that you know the answer. I don't know why Aaron, tell me how exactly we're going to Mars or Venus.
I think that it's a couple of things. The example that I always like to give is the railroad, where the railroad was initially federally funded. Like they created the ideas, the base infrastructure, all of that. And then eventually the private companies said, hey, these train things are awesome. They let us go coast to coast, so let's use them. Yeah. And when people figured out how to make money, that's when trains and that's when like travel by train really became what it is. Same with airplanes. Like, again, airplanes were originally these big, weren't they, federally funded projects, but then somebody realized like, hey, I can make a bunch of money if I stick people in there and get them from point A to point B.
It was the Air Force. That was the first thing in World War I. There was nothing else other than we can drop bombs on Germans.
Right. And then somebody, so you let the government kind of blow the door open, and then you let, and again, like I mentioned, capitalism isn't a perfect system, but damn, it's efficient. Like, and so you let federal initiatives blow open the door, and then you let capitalism.
Federal government programs kind of hold the door open.
Right.
And then everyone runs in, and then enough people get running in, it kind of holds the door open itself. Like it's like a strong stream. But yeah, you often do need that. And you're right. I mean, capitalism is great, but I mean, it's the reality is for these huge endeavors, you kind of have, because no one else is going to do it otherwise. If there's not an immediate first quarter
that's why the
profit,
government exists. Yeah.
Transcontinental Railroad, ARPANET. It's this shit doesn't work otherwise. Nuclear reactors, nuclear bombs, right? So, but then there's also sorry, what?
No, I was gonna say, so you let NASA do its thing first. You let NASA, whatever they decide, if they're like, hey, we're going to Venus or we're going to Mars or wherever, let them go, take their pictures, get the science stuff, let it be inspirational. But then, find the thing of value. And that's when interplanetary travel really becomes daily, normal, like traveling by plane or traveling by train, things like that. So, like you said, you got to find that business incentive, which should exist out there somewhere in our solar system. And when we find it,
it's going to blow open.
Oh, it's going to blow.
I mean, it's one of my favorite conspiracies because it's so stupid, but it's so delicious. Because there's also, most conspiracies start around World War II. I love this conspiracy. Is just that there was never any proof of any gold in California, but the U.S. government was like, "Yo, we want the West Coast, and how are we going to get it now? It sucks out there. Most people are going to die going out there. But we just need, a lot of us to just bum rush it and go take it. And then if any Indians attack us, we'll kill them in self-defense." Gold rush. That's how you get a bunch of sane people to go, get in the wagon, get everything. I'm leaving my doctor's practice in Boston. We're going out to California, right? I love that idea, though. We just bum rush the West Coast. No one found anything. But you can't get back. You can't get a return flight. So now it's just, fuck it. Guess I'm building a town here. Boom. There we go. Now we have San Francisco.
Yeah, now you have Hollywood. And,
exactly. So what do you do, man? Maybe you get over there. You've seen Interstellar, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When
watched it with my wife.
Oh, yeah? When Matt Damon's like, I pressed the button because I know someone would come. And then they're all mad at him. Does Elon go to Mars and just go there's gold and water everywhere? And then just the massive commercial transport. And then he's like, I knew if I sent out that tweet, you guys would come. And now you're fucked. Yeah. Now we're here, so let's build a town. Is that the move?
Yeah. That's a good question. And I can see it too, where it's hey, yeah, there's gold and water everywhere, and I've got a bunch of SpaceX rockets. Go ahead, buy your ticket out here today.
Or not, buy your ticket, or not even. It would just be everyone go just with your own rockets. It would still just be, but it would be a move. It'd be that's how you ensure you're tethering Mars to Earth now. You're building this, you're walking on the path and flattening the leaves, and you're building a trail in the woods. There's no other way you're going to get people to patent that path down unless there's a reason, right? You can deal with the problems of not having it once they get there, but I don't know. I mean, another way to prove, just using Trump's ego, Venus, Trump Hotel, Cloud City.
Cloud City Hotel.
Cloud City. It's wonderful. It's no Chinese people, no Mexican rapists. It's just white people. I mean, Americans. It's scratch that. Can you take that out? Thank you. But maybe that's one thing I think about the COVID vaccine is above all else, there's an ego incentive. Who's going to be the motherfucker? Who's going to be the scientist that does it, right? This is the Olympics, except it's not even every 4 years. It's once a century. 1918, it's who's getting their name on it, right? Who's being the next who's being the next Joseph Lister, or who's being the Marie Curie, or whatever, right? Who's going to be the next get their fucking name
that's
on.
a Nobel Prize. Easy.
Exactly. You're famous. You ended COVID.
Like, and you know what? I was actually talking to my boss about this, but they don't even, like, they could manufacture the vaccine and give it away for free because they will make that money. Whoever,
it doesn't matter. That person is going to get a lifetime cushy job at Harvard, just so Harvard can say that they're on our fucking med school board, right? They're going to be picked up by Pfizer. They're going to be, or whoever, GlaxoSmithKline, right? They're going to be picked up just so they can be in the Super Bowl commercial. That whoever does it, I mean, it is, and you know, some people I've brought this idea up before, and people are like, but that's not why you should do it. Well, there's a lot of reasons why we should do everything. You know, I should also not break into my neighbor's house to not take their money because it's bad. But you know what's a really good deterrent? Them having a gun and having a phone to call 911, and me knowing I'm going to get raped in the ass in prison, right? So there are a lot of things we should do, but then there's a lot of like human realities. We should have a COVID vaccine, but you know what? I mean, you know them, I know them. You know those gunner motherfuckers, right? Those pre-med motherfuckers fucking running to our throats, Ivy League pricks. Hey,
think about the PhD students who are like, just clawing for, because that's the way academia is, clawing for the next big thing.
Just clawing. No one knows you. You're working 90-hour weeks. You can't even afford pipettes, and now all of a sudden you got an idea. You're going to be the COVID person.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on. There can be another black president, but they won't be Obama, right?
Right.
It's that, you know,
there's something about being first.
Yeah, exactly. It's I had on that Tony Moon the other day, one of the OG rooftop Koreans, and he was talking about growing up as like an Asian and how strict parents are. And he's like, you know what second place is? It's the first place for losers. You're the first loser. Congratulations. But yeah, you know, it's who won. Who are the 6 people that Tom Brady beat in the Super Bowl? The 6 teams. Exactly. You don't know them off the top of your head because no one fucking knows the losers, right?
Yeah.
And the only reason you know about the other Tom Brady ones are because you know Eli Manning beat him. You know who the winners are. Who lost the 1988 election? You don't fucking know. You just know that it's George H.W. Bush, right? Doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. History doesn't remember losers.
No, 2012, I remember Romney. I can't even remember who the fuck Obama ran against in 08 because it was just Obama, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't fucking matter. McCain. It was McCain, right?
It was McCain.
Okay, bad example. But still.
That dude has a crazy story. Like, he was shot. He flew in Vietnam, got shot down, was a POW. Like,
John McCain was a badass.
I have a lot of respect.
So do I, dude. John McCain was a badass. I have a lot of respect for
that dude. He's pretty badass.
So, same as Robert Mueller, dude. I just finished Dawn of the Code War by Garrett Graff and some other guy. I can't remember who, but it's all about like the dawn of cyber warfare. Robert Mueller, I feel I had never heard the name before the last couple of years. Mueller report, Russia collusion, Trump, right?
Mm-hmm.
That motherfucker is a through and through patriot and has been for 40 years. Like, yeah, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, right? I don't know anything about her, but I know that she was a woman on the Supreme Court forever and worked on it until she died, right? There's some badass people that you don't have to agree with to just respect. Like, dude, that's a badass American. Like, you know, respect.
Same way. I really feel that way about George H.W. Bush, where you're like, oh shit, that dude.
Head of the CIA, director of the CIA.
Yeah. Well, before that, World War II pilot.
War II,
his unit, he flew. There's a story where I think it was his squadron or something where he was the only one that survived. The rest of them got shot down over like one of the islands over in Japan and got cannibalized.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it got cannibalized. His homies got eaten. I mean, JFK, pretty boy, womanizer. Dude, that dude was at the Killing Kennedy by Bill O'Reilly. I fucking hate Bill O'Reilly, but he has a fantastic good. I always plug his books, and people are like, Bill O'Reilly. It's not Bill O'Reilly. It's his ghostwriter. And his ghostwriter, whoever his name, because no one knows who's second, he has a fantastic ghostwriter. So shout out to that ghostwriter. He has written Killing Kennedy, Killing Reagan, Killing the SS, Killing the Rising Sun. Those are all fantastic. But Killing Kennedy, they go through his wartime. Motherfucker, like, stepped up. And was like a legit war hero. Like, went into certain, like, against the odds, went into like the mouth of death, and survived and was a hero and saved a lot of his boys because of it. But yeah, there's a lot of people you don't see that other side because you may get tinted about. I mean, I think JFK is a badass, but like, you know, you look at a womanizer was nailing Marilyn Monroe, unfaithful. Like, how do you do it? But
that's because in general we're very short-sighted as a culture and as a society, and we don't see the whole picture. Like, yeah,
you want to see.
It's not about. I think it has to do with Western culture, the idea that you can only be good or evil, and that's just not the way it works. We all have a little bit of good. We all have a little bit of evil. So, you know, as much as I know a lot of people, when you think about John McCain, even. And during that election, I was really young. I was like 18, so I didn't know. Was I, yeah, I didn't know everything now. But looking back on it, like, no, I may not have agreed with his political views, but damn it, I respected him as a patriot. Like, he served his country. Like, and I think that's one thing that we lack as a culture is the fact that we only focus on one thing. Like with JFK, you're only going to see the womanizer, or you're only going to see the legend of the womanizer. You can't see both. Same with Martin Luther King Jr. Like, people only see the legend, or like, he was also a known womanizer too. Like, cheated up and down on his wife, and like
not good, but doesn't diminish his civil rights accomplishments, right?
Yeah, it doesn't diminish. Can't speak today. It doesn't diminish the good acts that he's done. It's just that's the nature of being a person, where you're not. You're not all good. You're not all evil. I mean, you can look at the Pope, and I'm sure it would never come out, but the Pope has probably done some messed up things. I'm sure the Pope
jerks off every week to some shit on Pornhub. He probably does, dude. Gets a Faraday cage, bring an iPad in there, and goes to town. I'm sure he does because he's a human, right? But that's. I think if you put any of us in the spotlight, if you took any one human, and then you took the eye of the media and went up their ass with it, I think you're going to find shit about everyone. And that's not to say everyone's unfaithful, but I just mean in general.
We all have our bad shit. Yeah.
Everyone drove drunk and they definitely should have got a Dewey and they didn't, and they still think about, I'm taking that one to the grave, right? Everyone's sent a text they shouldn't have. Everyone's maybe taken something you shouldn't have. You're drunk, you're young. Snake a pack of cigarettes, right? Everyone's done something. Everyone's said mean shit or cheated on a test or done. I mean, how many times have you gone double the speed limit in your neighborhood? Right? Just because you're late to work. And that's definitely didn't happen last week, right? I definitely wasn't pushing 80 getting out of this place.
No. Yeah. I don't regularly push 105 on campus.
Exactly. That's what I mean. It's, I mean, I got caught once at UGA. I got pulled over. But that was only after 4 years. I finally got tagged. It was like 3 a.m. and I just put my car in neutral and rolled down a hill. Whoop, whoop. And I wasn't even mad. I was like, you know, I was like, I have broken the speed limit going to campus almost every day for 4 years. But I think if you put that microscope on anybody, right?
Yeah. Now there are certain things. I do think as a society we have lines like
like rape, murder, embezzling funds. Those are some you can't do those.
Yeah. Who is it? Prince Andrew with pedophilia.
Yeah, that's a no-no. That's a no-no.
Yeah, that's a bit like okay, I get it, dude. We've all done some messed up stuff, but that's a line you don't cross.
Messed up doesn't include like traumatizing a child for life.
Right. Yeah. Like there are certain lines you don't cross, but in general, I think that, and part of it is. I think part of it is the result of social media now more than ever, where we're able to create these lives or create these images of what we want life to be.
Curated highlight reels.
Yeah, the highlight reel, and you're ignoring the reality. So it's like one thing that I really dislike about modern political discourse is that nobody is willing to acknowledge the good of the other side.
Yeah. That's what me and my older brother talked about a couple weeks ago. We were like, I mean, in general, there's a problem where outright dismissal of any view other than your own.
Right.
And dehumanizing too, right? Oh, that's just a fucking X, Y, Z. That's just a Trump Nazi. That's just a Biden communist.
Damn liberals, yeah.
Yeah. Own the libs, stupid conservatards. It's like, it's there's something to be said for entertaining an idea. Wasn't it Voltaire? Was it Einstein? Who the fuck was it?
Aristotle, I think.
Aristotle, education is or intelligence is the sign of entertaining an idea and not necessarily believing it.
I thought it was a sign of a well-developed mind is being able to entertain an idea without being consumed by it. But it could be
that's
both.
Probably it. It's
some like it's some.
But it's a brilliant line. You don't have to believe it. It's I'm not gay, but I don't think no one should be gay. Look, I don't like dick. I like boobs. All right. But
well, hold up now, because I know a lot of gay guys who say they like boobs too. Like,
well, I mean, who doesn't? Who does? I feel like that's like a neutral ground that we can all agree upon, right?
Yeah,
it's like Anchorman, no touching of the face or hair. Like we can all agree that they're fun, right? But the point is like I heard someone describe it. I think it was in college, and it was in Valdosta of all places, a culturally backwards place. But someone was like, I don't see this problem everyone's got, and bless his heart, was trying to say it in a loving way. He's like, I don't see this problem everyone's got with these faggots. And I was like, oh, Jesus. But he was like, I don't like dick, but my girl does, and I don't have a problem with my girl, so it can't be that bad. And I was like, yeah, I mean, but you don't have to like it. Once you can think about why are you attracted to your wife or your girlfriend and that sexual attraction, you don't need to quantify it, but just that qualitative conscious experience of sexual attraction and drive and lust or lovemaking, well, then it just goes for anyone. Okay, well, I don't have that for this member, or there's this entire half of the species, but I know if I can have it for this person, then why can't someone else have that same human drive, right? I don't like this music, but that music is not an objective. Someone was playing music the other week in the liquor store, and it was after 9 hours, and it was just like the same genre of music, and I just remember thinking, I was like, I'm gonna blow my fucking brains out. And then I would catch myself, and I'd be like, just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's bad. And then, for whatever reason, in this 9-hour playlist, a Post Malone song came on, and I love Post Malone. And I remember I went, finally, some good music in my head. And then I thought, you are such a douchebag. Now that it's a song I like, it's good music.
Good, yeah.
No, that doesn't work. That doesn't. Tom Brady is great. Oh, he plays for the Bucks now? Man, fuck that bitch. Cheater, Spygate, forward motion. And it's like, what? You didn't care when he was on your team for 20 years, right?
Right, yeah. And I think going back a little bit, especially when you're talking about sexuality, again, I didn't really choose who I liked. I woke up one day and I was like, oh, boobs are awesome.
But it's not even a realization. You're just born with it. It's just, that's a fact to you. It's as factual as gravity.
Yeah, you're like, oh, okay, this is what, it's like, if you've ever done computer programming, or if you programmed a microcontroller and you're setting bits in a register, you probably haven't.
I know, I have not. Coding is black magic to me.
Oh, yeah, it can be. There's certain things I feel like in our DNA, that is our source code. So who's to say you have this bit that's flipped? That's okay, you have your sexuality bit.
Yeah,
it
just flips. Yeah,
you could have, 1, 2, both, more, neither, not. Because I know people who are asexual. Yeah. And I have no concept of what that's like, but I'm like, oh gosh, if I can be one way, certainly the other way can exist.
I think I can get an idea of that. It's got to be those first couple seconds after you nut, right? And not with someone, not with another human, not like a loving relationship. I mean, that general sense of what the fuck am I doing when you watch porn. And it's those first couple seconds afterwards. That's what it must be like. And hey, man, it might be good. It's probably no distractions, right? No one can throw on a sweet face and get what they want from you. You're like, fuck you. I'm not no. You're using me. You're not getting a raise, right? It's, but yeah, it's so. Go fucking, I don't know how we got way off. We started with clouds and Venus, and now we're here. But
this is you would expect anything else when I come on?
Nope, not at all. I'd be disappointed otherwise if this was some cookie cutter. So Aaron, tell us about Venus. And no, Jesus Christ in heaven.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get on a guy that was the head engineer for the Mars Curiosity rover.
Oh, who's the guy?
Rob Manning. Works for NASA. Right now,
his name,
he's agreed to it, but right now he has to get a JPL like media approval.
It's a bit of a process.
I have no idea if I'm gonna get it. It's probably not looking good.
NASA is very particular about their IP, so
well, I mean, I'm fine if you like can't talk about that at all. I just want to have him on a chat. I hope it doesn't have anything to do with like we got to see the image of Tommy's podcast, because that's just gonna not work at all. It's gonna but yeah, isn't the new one doesn't the new one have like a helicopter on it?
Yes. So there is Perseverance, and then there is Ingenuity. So Ingenuity is the drone that goes with the rover that will like launch up and take pictures.
Is the rover Perseverance?
Yes, the rover is Perseverance.
Same package though.
Yes. Okay. And so they will get there around February is what they're saying.
When did it launch? Am I a moron? When did this launch?
It launched in July. It takes a while to get there.
But I don't even remember the launch.
Oh man, it was pretty cool. They did. Yes, I did watch the launch live. It launched like really early in the morning. It was like 7:00 on the East Coast and maybe like 4:00 on the West Coast or something crazy like that. But yeah, it launched.
Okay, I didn't.
And actually, because I was with NASA at the time, and so we were doing like all these seminars. They brought in like all these scientists who worked on the rover. I actually got to interview one of the scientists, and I still have to release that interview, but
yeah,
I'm going to wait till February at this point.
You bastard.
I know, yeah. I was busy, and I was going to do it launch day, and it didn't happen. So I was like, I'll do it when it lands. Yeah, don't give me that bullshit.
Come on, man. Bullshit. Come on, baby. Don't give me that. Give me some love.
Yeah, but yeah, man. It's so one of the things that they're really hoping for with this round is that it's got more tools on it designed for detecting signs of life.
Yeah. As opposed to what's the huge one there? Opportunity? No.
Curiosity.
Is that the huge one? The one the size of like a car?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So that would be really cool if I can get this guy on. For some reason, I thought he was the chief engineer of one of those little tiny ones. Not that any of it's any less cool, but yeah, in the email I sent him, he was like, "Hey, thanks for like reaching out." He was like, "Thanks for the invite." He goes, "I looked at some of your guests because I always send like the list of like the best guests, the most impressive guests as a sort of like almost like legitimacy. Like, hey, look, it's not all psychopathic rantings." But he was like, "Those are very impressive guests." He's like, "I don't know if I'm as interesting to them." He was like, "Why do you want to talk to me?" And I responded, I was like, "Dude, you drive rovers on a different planet." I was like, I don't know how else to. I mean, that's insane.
That's you understand, that is my dream. Like, that's the dream.
Yeah, I was like, you are, what I think the exact wording I said is, you're playing with RC cars with a 50 million mile range. I was like, I was like, that's insane. So, yeah, but I mean, he just has to get the approval. So,
yeah.
But if it goes through, he'll be on October 8th. If it goes through.
Oh,
I'll keep
dude, that's awesome.
I'll keep you updated. But
keep me posted. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
I might have a question. Like, I might write a question.
Please do. Please write me a ton of questions because he has a book. That's how he has a book, and I just saw it and I downloaded it, and now it's just like, in how I go with guests, I was just like, I'm gonna try to ask him. Mars Curiosity. It's literally called Mars Rover Curiosity by Rob Manning and William Simon. And so I'm going to listen to that and put together some questions, but please give me some questions.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
You should be okay. Like, it's just like they're probably just gonna look at your episodes and just make sure that you're not like a foreign national or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm unabashedly American, so that should work, right?
Yeah, I mean the big American flag in the background.
And I'm just screaming pro-America. I'm like an American Hitler. I'm just like, we're the best. It's
I mean, but we kind of are.
I mean, we are. I mean, let's be honest, people. Just Fucking
was let's put it like this. You watch like all the Marvel movies, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't Captain Russia that was beating up Thanos, man. It wasn't Captain China.
Yeah.
That was Captain America.
Yeah. And S.H.I.E.L.D. was located in America. Yeah. Iron Man, American defense contractor. Just suck it, bitch. Yeah. It's, you're right. Have you seen that, like, it's like, like Super Bowl or World Series, they would say, like, the world champions, right? Because there's no league outside of here. But I always love those memes where it's like, how many Super Bowls are we on now? 60 something?
Something like, I don't know.
We'll just call it 60. It'll be like America football championships, 60. Rest of the world, 0. World champs. Like, but it's, I mean, who's been to the moon? America, 1. Rest of the world, 0. Right?
Not America 1, America 6, dude.
Yeah. That's true. Did you know that, we have 4 minutes. Did you know that Russia actually, on the morning, or whatever, the day Armstrong took the first step, like a couple hours before they landed, Russia rammed one of their satellites into the lunar surface?
Yep.
I never realized it was, but we had been there, but there were orbiters before and shit, so it's not like it was like that was who's going to get there first. They'd been, I believe, Russia or Soviets, I believe they put probes on the lunar surface before we did. They technically got there with robots first, but we brought our big dicks up there first. And
because is there any other way to do it?
You can throw a robot up. Yeah.
Let it all hang out, man.
Just whack like an elephant trunk. But like, it's not yours until you bring a golf club up there and crack one.
Oh yeah, and there is nothing more American than that. It is like, we are so badass that we got to this
golf
rock in space and we're playing golf. What's that?
Yeah. And not only that, we brought up our golf cart.
Yeah.
Whipping around in that bitch.
Yeah. Who was it? There was I know they brought it up for 15, but 16 and 17 is when it really like shone. And there's a video of, is it Charlie? It's Charlie Duke and who's the other guy with him? It might have been Mattingly. But there's a video of them like testing the rover around, and I'm like, yes, that is just
fucking whipping it, just in 69 on the fucking moon.
But you know what? Like my 2020 version of that would be to like put the rover, but then have it have spinners.
I hope they bring out, because you know how he's gonna make Musk say he's gonna make a pressurized version of the Cybertruck for Mars. No bullshit.
So
he said
roll it in your Cybertruck.
He's like, it's all metal. He was like, it's perfect. It's gonna be like, it's gonna have like solar panels on it, and because it's a single like flush surface, it'll be easy to just seal it all in. So we're gonna be fucking whipping around on a goddamn Cybertruck, like a chrome reflective Cybertruck, and Musk is gonna put some like American streamers on it, just doing fucking donuts on Mars. That's the thing. It's like we almost the capitalism works, but sometimes you also you got to have a little bit of ego in there, right?
Yeah, ego is what gets. That's what spaceflight is.
Healthy ego is good. Yeah. Healthy ego is wonderful. Nothing's gonna get you to fucking. It's like that. I think Joe Rogan quote. He was like, "Be the man you pretend to be when you're trying to get laid." Right? or be the person your dog thinks you are. But it's like, dude, yeah, it's good to, it's good to be a good person and everything. Nothing's going to get you getting to the gym and dieting more than when someone hits on your girlfriend or wife and you're like, fuck that. There's blood in the water, right? Competition.
Yeah.
It's healthy
evolution,
ego.
Man.
Healthy ego is good. On that note, Aaron Shepard, I got to wrap this bitch up because I'm 30 and live above my parents' garage and work at a liquor store. One day I hope to look back at this when my podcast is huge. Until
you
then,
will, man. And
I appreciate it, brother.
You will. I'll be streaming in from my Cybertruck on Mars.
Fuck yeah, dude. God damn. You know what this is? I think like we said last time, this is the origin story. You got to have an origin story.
Everybody has to have an origin story.
You don't just get to be Iron Man. You got to end up in a cave with shrapnel on your heart. Yeah, right.
Yep.
You gotta be Spider-Man. You gotta get bitten by a spider and lose your uncle. Captain America. You gotta get frozen. You gotta lose your loved ones. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be an origin story.
Price you pay.
Price you pay. But you're goddamn
Yeah,
right.
man.
Goddamn right. Aaron Shepard of Cogito Brains. I'll link that. BCI. But BCI and
Yeah, man.
BCI and
We
BDE.
BCI, man, and we might be getting $30,000. So
Yes.
that's the word I got. Like it's not 100% guaranteed, but that's the news, and I'm like, yes.
Big dick energy. Big dick energy.
I know, man. We gotta.
God damn, man. I cannot wait.
30K.
God, one day I'm gonna come on here screaming because I got a 30K check. I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna get a check from. It's gonna work. It's gonna work. It's gonna work. I just gotta keep lying to myself until it works. It's gonna work.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you, man. Give us your GoFundMe or your thing. We'll drop a little something. Yeah.
Laying those seeds for when I'm big and powerful. You'd be like, he'll remember us. He'll remember.
Yeah,
he'll remember the donors.
Yeah, I invested early, man. You're like that person at the gym who's not attractive, and I'm encouraging you.
I'm the penny stock Amazon, and you're like, here's $100. You'll remember me when you're worth 200 billion.
Yeah, you know.
I'm for it. Yeah. Use me. I'm for it. I don't give a fuck. Money's money. All right, my man. But until money's money and I'm loaded, I gotta go stock liquor shelves and ID people a decade younger than me.
Take your ass to work.
Goddamn. All right, brother. Until next time.
All right.
Peace, buddy.
Peace.
You.